everyone. It's Thursday the 25th of November. The time is 10:43 a.m. and the temperature is -6 degrees. We are in Iisalmi, which is in northern Savo, sort of middle of Finland, looking at the city hall on the other side there, a little bit older building, and as you can see, we're in the middle of a bit of a snowstorm here. So I don't know how much of the city we're going to actually see. We are on Pohjolankatu right now. There are some really nice wood buildings here. It's a nice city with a lake nearby. So some of these older wood buildings will be nice. I don't have a route in mind because I'm not sure how far and how fast we're going to make our way through the city in this storm. I've just been through some very wintry and snowy scenes in the countryside. The roads are pretty bad at the moment, so I think we'll just make the route up as we go. But I'll definitely try to walk through some of the nice older areas with the wood buildings and towards the central square. But a lot of this will be just sort of taking in the snow views and seeing how it goes. It's not a very big city, so I imagine even in the snow we'll be able to cover a lot of it. And I probably will have put a map on here, so you probably know more than me at this moment. Some of the buildings are really lovely, older wood buildings here. We'll see more of that as we go along. But of course, not a lot of people are out right now. The storm is only supposed to last for the morning and sort of to the early afternoon. And then will still be winter views, of course, but most people will probably have delayed going out to that point when the weather is a little bit more forgiving, because most of the things you do around here, you have to have a car to drive around. Don't think anyone without a car would really brave it unless they really have to, but with a car too, if you're anywhere a bit further away. Probably going to wait for this to go and wait for the afternoon. But for us, this is a nice wintry view, and I thought it would be really nice to record while it is snowing. It's mostly the driving that's a little bit, well, because the snow is coming so fast, it's not really possible to keep the roads in perfect condition, so you have a lot of snow and the visibility was really poor. So walking is actually probably okay anyway. It's kind of fun after a break to be in winter weather, and of course I don't have to go to work in this weather or go to school in this weather. Let's walk to the church and then maybe back the other side of the street to the area with the older buildings that are really pretty. Of course, this kind of weather is fairly usual in Finland in the winter, but this is probably one of the first ones for this year. You can see even with people and cars having gone through today, it's already kind of a fresh snow here. the church bells ringing. I'll make my way in the middle there. So fairly deep snow here, but some people braving it outside when you have this weather constantly, I guess. You just go about your day. Here's a local, fairly famous person, Juhani Aho. There's a school named after him as well, nearby. A group of possibly daycare children, I think, making their way through the snow there as well. They'll be used to this, and it will be quite fun, I'd imagine, that there's snow for all the play. Now the statue here. It's a nice snow because it's not too wet, so it's not like being in rain. It's more like landing on you, as it does on the statues. I always wonder when people post videos about this kind of a sound of snow. The only sound I can kind of think about is when you walk on it, which you can probably hear. People have started putting up lights, and around here, especially sort of more at the countryside, they really stand out in the dark. It's nice. I think this is a good reminder of summer still visible for a while. I'll walk towards the church a bit and then turn and make my way to the left. This is the school I mentioned. Also a nice building, I think, with sort of older feel maybe. It's kind of turning into a nice slower falling snow, bigger flakes. But you kind of lose the idea of where the roads and pavement are. Quite a snowy day though. And here's the church. It's white, so kind of difficult, I guess, to see in the snow as well, but there it is. I think I might have to do another walk to cover what the city is actually like. And this will be more for the snow. Another school ahead. There's also that taller tower there. Somewhere around here there's a webcam, which is kind of on year round. It's one of the taller buildings around here. And you can kind of always check the weather, I guess. And then you have these lovely wood buildings. There's another view of the church. And here's the lovely older building again. There are quite a few cities in Finland that have this type of older wood buildings. They're always really lovely when they're restored properly. We are on Savonkatu at the moment. Well, we might walk to the lakeside. Let's see if we can cross here. Yes, we can. You can see the snow is fresh here. No one's been through for a while. Some lovely red older buildings around here. That's a very traditional look for a countryside building. And these, so that's quite lovely. You can pretty easily make these places look really Christmassy with just a bit of lights, especially with the snow around. And we're getting to Haukiniemenkatu. Hauki being a type of fish. There's a bigger bird over there. So ahead of us now is a lake, which is quite nice in the summer. Now you don't really easily see it from the other surrounding snow. I think that's called Porolahti, so named after a reindeer. And we have more of those lovely wood buildings around here. I have to go slowly, but I guess with the snow it doesn't really matter too much. We will have plenty of snow, whether I go slower or not. On the other side there is the big brewery around this area, Olvi, which has been around for a very long time. They have a museum around there and really nice outside terraces for some time, not this type of weather. There's a pier going out that you could use for swimming or just looking at the lake. But again, this is definitely not the weather for it. I'll turn and have a look back as well. Guess I kind of was pointing the camera at the lake when we went past those buildings. So that's the lake there. That would be water from there onwards normally. But of course it freezes over for the winter. I think what we'll do is make our way back up through here and walk towards the market square. These are really lovely buildings around here. Oh, that's not a good idea. I was going to cross there, but there's more snow. I'm also kind of walking into the wind. right now. Yeah, this is definitely more of a breeze walking into the wind and snow. We're walking past the school. You can probably hear the children who don't seem to mind the snow. Just to look at the side street while I recover from walking into the snow for a bit. So ahead of us now is the sort of more central area of the city. So there's a square. Most traditional cities with the sort of traditional layout will have a market square in the middle. And around the market square, I will definitely look to make a turn so I'm not kind of battling the snow and wind from this direction. But not too bad. There's the market hall. Also a very sort of traditional thing to have. Usually they have small kind of stalls or shops. And I'm going to make my way over to the square here. We're on Kauppakatu, which I guess loosely translated would be Shop Street. And on Saturday, in 2 days, I think they're opening a Christmas market here. I think I saw a glimpse of stalls for that as well. grill for fast food. The slogan they've started using is Ihmeiden Iisalmi, which is something along the lines of Iisalmi of wonders. Well, I guess you can call this a wonder. The snow is pretty impressive. So behind there would be a small shopping center, I think, and another one right there with kind of the essentials, little stores. They might have some performances for the opening of the winter market or opening of Christmas, it says, I think, officially. And the Christmas tree is already here. So this is the bus stations right there. This is kind of the shopping center around here. But of course you also have big supermarkets and electronic stores not too far away from here. But traditionally this would have been it. This will be quite nice, I'd imagine, when they're opened on Saturday. I think there was talk about fireworks as well. Doesn't seem like the weather for fireworks, so we'll see. It shouldn't be snowing like this tomorrow or on the weekend. More shops this way. But I'm going to go and make my way towards the kind of really lovely older buildings around this area. I think in Iisalmi in the last couple of years it's actually kind of turned from the central area being a little bit older and sort of needing some new shops to actually being more lively now. And new apartment buildings have gone up, that sort of thing. So I think the almost like a pedestrian shopping center there is, or the central area is quite nice. It has a lot of smaller shops, and I actually bought some shoes, winter shoes, from a shop here, and they delivered them to the capital area in a day from here, and sent a nice letter as well to basically say the pandemic has been really difficult and they appreciate the business. So I found that really nice, and I guess that would work quite well for smaller stores in this area if they can kind of get things delivered across the country. It's still kind of a area with less customers, of course. So this building is now a restaurant. It's just another really lovely older building. We'll go this way since the light is green. There's a railway station here, so you can take the train to Helsinki, and it's a little bit less than 6 hours, or a little bit over 5 hours from here to the capital by train. I really love train travel. I think in a country like Finland it's really convenient to have especially if you imagine right now what it would be like to drive long distance. This is what you start getting as they remove the snow from the streets. Piles of snow everywhere. And those then collect over winter, and the final ones you sometimes see for quite a long time after most of the snow is gone. That's some art, a cow. I think these are made out of car parts. It's by Miina Äkkijyrkkä, fairly well-known Finnish artist, and it's kind of colorful for this weather, at least when everything else is white. It's nice to have colorful art pieces. I think this is another way to have the snow in my face, so let's cross here and keep going. And it's not this quiet, of course, all the time. I'm just the one of the few crazy people who will go out when they don't really have to. People are at work or they're waiting it out. So hopefully seeing how nice some of the renovated wood buildings are, people will take better care of the other ones as well, give them a lick of paint and sort of create this feel for the remaining wood buildings that have been there for a while. So now if we look towards the church I walked by earlier, this is the park, you can barely even see it's there. So that's what I mean by the driving being a little bit more difficult than walking. Guess we can see the buildings here, but it gets a bit more difficult out there. So as we walk to the right from the main street there are some really nice wooden buildings with the colors as well. They even stand out in the snow like this. I keep saying colors are the way to go. If many months of the year will be dark and grey and then white, have some color. I think you can pretty well see the difference if we look around at the different colored houses. The blues and greens and the red there, they really stand out. I think there's an old photograph of this area. I want to capture that if I can. It's a lovely city, but today this is more about the snow. I'll try to do it again. Ahead of us here is Orthodox church, but built by a Finnish architect, so not so usual, or a little bit unusual design. I'll walk over there. I think it's a Profeetta Elian kirkko, the church of Profeetta Elian. That might be or might not be the correct translation. So this is depicting what the house has inside, maybe how they have renovated it or how it has been. And here's a group of old photographs, also in the snow. Not so very different from today. I think they've done a good job. I think there's a monument of some kind here as well, but I'm not familiar with it, so if it's been covered by snow, I'll just have to look that up and talk about it later on, when there's a little less snow. Yeah, this has been covered. I'm going to have to look it up. It looks similar to another monument, which is for people who went to the war in the area. I'll look that up. This is a hotel apparently, the Golden Dome. I haven't really seen that before or noticed it before. Here's the church. Just to look around to give you an idea of what it's like. Oh, that's a daycare now. And I'm wondering if I should make my way just around this building here. I really like this one. It has a nice design. And the colors, like I was mentioning. I think there's some music there, maybe some events for young people. What you will notice is that many Finnish cities don't have that high buildings. Everything's fairly low. There is a taller new apartment building by the water, but mostly it's pretty low here. This is because there is space to build. An older residential building there, and then we're kind of walking into this more modern area with the blocks of flats, but even they are not very sort of high here, 3 or 4 stories. And I'll turn left here. I have a view this way. I'll turn here and make my way to the main street. With the weather, I really kind of try to stay out of the way of cars rather than walk under them. So if you're wondering what I'm waiting for, I'm just letting them pass. There are not too many cars here, so no need for me to make it sort of more difficult for them. Still some red berries in the tree. But I do think Iisalmi has a really nice feel. Iisalmi, I guess, means eBay. There's a joke in there somewhere. And as we're getting to 40 minutes, look at that snow. So getting to over 40 minutes, I think I'll look to wrap this up. We're also close by to where I started, around that yellow building on the other side. So I think I've covered a fair bit of the city. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over towards the brewery and maybe record another video on that side. We'll see. We'll see if I get to Christmas market on Saturday. But thank you for joining me for this snow day walk in Iisalmi. I hope you enjoyed the snow. I hope you enjoyed the views of Iisalmi. And if you'd like to see more videos, or a little bit at least, from Finland, but then more from Singapore, where I normally record. If you want to see one or the other, Finland or Singapore, or you want to see both, then you can subscribe to the channel and be notified when there are new videos published. I can't promise it will be always this kind of snow weather, but who knows? We might get some of it still. So thank you so much for watching, joining me for the walk, and I hope I'll see you again soon.